season. They jumped to the screen too quickly. We wanted to get the full experience.
Is that what that was about? Okay.
We only, when we do the closing today, that'll be it.
That is
the
last of the Easter season broadcast.
Yeah, we got to relish this. We got to just absorb it.
Hold on to
feel good about it.
Yes.
All that
Easter
sort of thing.
Season.
Pastor Brian, you look a little disheveled.
Do I?
Yeah, you're just a touch disheveled.
A little different. I got my mismatched socks on.
Were you wearing a wig today, or was that just yesterday?
That was just yesterday.
Okay.
No, no wig or whatever that was. Whatever that was.
Dr. Crazy Man.
Yeah,
like
it kind of. I got a lot of. You could be a crazy professor.
Crazy professor. That's the words I was looking for.
Yeah, I got a lot of those comments.
And just so you know, that's a typical week here. He just uses VBS as an excuse to wear the crazy wig.
Yes. Every time there's an opportunity, that comes out.
It makes me want to go so right next door is a closet. Makes me want to go over there and grab the tiger head.
If you can find it, I don't know.
It was sitting in the.
Was it
green
just sitting
room.
right there?
Yeah.
Every time I look in there, it seems like there's more and more. But
my favorite memory of that being used was when we were online for Synod Assembly because of the pandemic.
Yes.
And we opened a session with the bishop wearing the tiger mask.
She did.
We actually encouraged her to do it, and she did it.
And she was very happy to do that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So.
Man, we got a lot going on. You got VBS.
VBS is going on, so that's been good.
And speaking of that, I think we have a picture. So if you haven't been around or haven't seen it online, take a look at this.
That come through? So that's one of the pictures.
That's one of the
few of the kids that are coming into church, and then up front.
That's the one I wanted people to see.
Yes.
Is that a wizard hat up there? Or is that?
I believe that is a sorting hat. Yes.
Yes.
For Hat Day.
For Hat Day, if we're getting into, well, I guess it wouldn't be Gryffindor with a True North theme. It would be the Bear House or the Moose House.
Bear or Moose. Yeah. And I think that's what is happening there. They're being sorted in to different classes. So very good.
Kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a great. We just wanted you to see it in case you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, in case. I mean, because it is one of those things where we set up, then it gets torn down on Friday.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of which is the case at the church. There's a lot of activity that happens in between Sunday morning or Saturday evening or whatever they might be. There's a lot that takes place.
And then we turn around, as I mentioned on Sunday, we turn around and get ready for Synod Assembly the following week. And it's only Thursday and Friday, but it's going to take us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday kind of get reset and set up for that for Thursday and Friday. And then it's, I believe it's Father's Day weekend, or is that the following week?
It would be the third weekend, wouldn't it?
Right. So, So Father's Day after that, and then new carpeting in the sanctuary.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, it really is kind of one thing after another.
Yeah.
That's been exciting.
It is. I mean, and that's the thing is, it's way better than we have nothing to do.
It is way better than that.
I mean, just from a ministry standpoint, we just have stuff going on, and that's a blessing that we're not just like, oh, there's nothing going. There's everything going on. Mm-hmm. And when does mission trip happen?
So right after that third week, we have a leadership, or fourth week, I think, of June, we have the Leadership Lab experience. So we're taking just a handful of kids. It's been the church has a history of doing Leadership Lab going back quite a ways.
We took our first kids back in 1999.
1999? Oh, really?
And so, that goes back now 26 years that we originally took kids to Leadership Lab, Leadership Camp in Illinois. And so...
Okay, so there is a long history, because certainly people who we know who grew up in this church, Leadership Lab, they still talk about it. They still know it. They still have a strong history with Leadership Lab there. And so, but it was quite an extended break, I think, because since I've been here, the church has not.
That's right.
And it was not part of the church's traditions or anything when I got here.
No, that's right. Right. I know they took a break for a while.
And then, but this will be the first year going back to Leadership Lab
we'll see what happens.
in quite some time. So, so they go to Leadership Lab, and then the week after that, which is the first week in July, we'll have our mission trip.
Okay. So we got, and so you're gearing up for both of those things. I know you're not going to Illinois.
I'm not going to Illinois. We, it was helping make sure. Susan was the big one there, just making sure in our office, making sure every kid had a plane ticket.
That makes sense.
And lining all that up, kids sitting where and doing this, doing that.
That's
right. But getting all that set. So I think hopefully we've got all of that set to go, ready.
Yeah. And then we have a few other projects, which I'm not ready to give detail on yet, but you might have seen that we removed the TV in the Crossroads area. On that half wall over by the chapel and the bookstore, the gift store, we have a project for that area, that wall, that we're not ready to talk about yet, but we got something coming there. And then, if you read your last week's email, we have a new conference room in the back in the nursery that both kids can use it for Sunday school and other things, but we also have it for midweek meetings too. That room can be used. So we got a few other projects kind of bubbling up behind the scenes here, and it feels like in some ways, and I haven't said this before, but 2025 here has had a different vibe to it, in the sense that there are some things happening that we haven't been able to do since I've been here now, coming up 6 years. And now, like, we've made some changes, we've done some upgrades, we have some exciting stuff happening within all of our ministries. And it just, there's all signs of life everywhere. So, that's really exciting. So
it is really, really cool.
So we got a great song for you today. This one is a part of our regular 11 a.m. Kind of lineup. I'm not saying we sing it every week, but it's in the regular use song that comes up for congregational singing. And the lyrics on this song are tremendous. I mean, I just love the lyrics to this song. And often when we come to broadcast, we often pick mostly special music that we do in worship at any of the services. But this one is kind of a regular, what I'd call a praise tune.
Okay.
But I really like the lyrics to this. And we've never shown it here or used it here in broadcast. So I thought maybe we would do that today and talk about some of the verses within that.
Let's do that.
So let's take a listen, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Darkness runs for cover. When you move, no one turns away. 'Cause where you are, fear turns into praises. Where you are, no hearts left unchanged. Come on, move with us. Here we go. So come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. When you move, the outcast finds a family. When you move, orphan finds a home. Lord, here we are. Oh, teach us to love mercy with humble hearts. Bow down at your throne. Oh, come on. So come, move, let let's do that one again. Here we go. So come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone. Come on, let's affirm that together. Let's sing it one more time. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone. So come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. Hey, so come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. So come and move. So come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you.
I love that song.
It is, and like you say, because I was not at the Tuesday meeting today, so I didn't know
Right.
which one had been chosen.
Right.
But
We had some other things,
But
but-
you're right. That has become really. It's kind of a foundation to our 11 o'clock. It's a
Yep.
staple there.
Yeah, Move is the name of a song written by Chris McClarney, and he grew up in the church, son of a youth pastor, and he began leading worship at when he was 14, and then eventually started writing music. And the other song that you may know or you may not know, but I know and you know, is Chris also wrote the song "Your Love Never Fails." Your love never fails, never gives up, never runs out on me. He wrote that
Really?
one, and that's one we also do. So
Okay.
and that one was a #1 hit that on the Christian chart.
Sure
that
was.
Your
Yeah,
love
okay.
never fails.
I believe
never gives
that.
up. And so there's some themes in this song that I really like, and so I actually parsed out the song a little bit so that we could kind of like connect the dots here, right?
Okay.
And then Pastor Brian, I know that you have some other agenda here, homework assignment.
Yes.
So I'm just-
you let me know that I have to work in our VBS points.
Yes, because I told him on
into
Tuesday.
the message today.
Yes. So here we go. So
Yes.
first, the song says, "So come, move, let justice roll on like a river, let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you." That's part of the song. Amos chapter 5.
Amos, huh?
Amos, yeah.
Yeah, we don't get into Amos a whole lot.
No. The close. I mean, not very often do I study Amos, but however, when I lived in Chicago, I did used to eat famous Amos chocolate chip cookies.
Famous Amos.
Yeah.
They're still around. You can
Are they
find
still?
those.
Are they
you can
available
still find
here?
Those, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I watch my sugar
I
intake
have not.
anymore, so
I have
don't
not
know.
bought any famous Amos.
Yeah. So
But I feel like I've seen them around.
yeah, they're kind of tied to Chicago for me. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But the Book of Amos, not the cookie. Here we
Okay.
go.
But the Book of Amos.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Listen to this. Even though, this is God speaking, even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring me choice fellowship offerings, I have no regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps. But let justice roll on like a river and righteousness like a never-failing stream. Sounds harsh, but here's the thing. I was thinking about this verse, and what God is telling us is God's not interested in performative Christianity. He doesn't want he doesn't want us to
Sure.
pretend to be Christian. If this is about checking boxes, I showed up to worship, or I threw a couple of bucks in the plate, I'm checking the boxes. God's like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
I
at
want
all.
your heart, or just don't bother.
Don't
Yeah.
bother, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even like a judgment thing. It's
No,
just,
no,
it's just
it's-
straight talk. It's
Right.
straight talk. Like,
Yeah.
look, if this is about checking boxes for you or appearances, he's like, just don't bother. He's like, what I'm interested in is this justice, the right thing happening, and you giving your heart to make sure the right things are happening, and that you have this relationship, this righteousness that is a never failing stream. But if it's about appearances or the show, he's like, forget it. And I really appreciate that, because I think there's sometimes, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but God has no use for Sunday morning Christians. He wants to draw them close.
Right,
Don't get me wrong. He's not pushing them away.
And like you say, it's not the judgment. It's just, why come to something if you're not going to pour your heart into it? Like, if you're doing it out of obligation, and if you're doing it out of, it's just like, how is that good for anyone?
It's not good for you.
It's not good for us if we're doing that, living that way. God says that's of no benefit to me. Like,
right?
I don't need that as much as I'm not here to make sure you.
Yeah, we're not taking attendance here.
Yeah,
right?
That's not the point. It's just, it's about living fully in this world.
Yep.
And what are we going to choose to pour our hearts into?
That's exactly right.
Yes.
And so I really appreciate that. No performative Christianity, no performative pretending you have a relationship with God. Just God's like, when you're ready, I'm here. He never turns anybody away. When you're ready, I'm here. But until that point, just do something else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, live for what matters. And so if I had to pick a Bible point from VBS that went after that,
okay, go ahead.
I would go for the first one. When we need hope, we can trust in Jesus.
So in VBS, there's the tagline, and then the kids always respond. So,
trust Jesus is the response.
So and it's a different tagline every day, but the response is always the same. So when we get to the next Vacation Bible School point, which is happening, when that happens, I need you at home to just say trust Jesus with the rest of us.
When we need hope, trust Jesus.
So we just need you to join in on that. Okay.
Yes.
Second part of the song, and it's the beginning of the song. Listen to this. When you move, this is God. When God moves, the outcast finds a family, and when you move, the orphan finds a home. And I love that line. And it throws us back to Exodus chapter 22. So you're like, what's God's heart on outcasts and orphans? In other words, what is God's opinion of marginalized people? That's the question you got to hold in your head. And God answers that question in Exodus chapter 22. Yeah.
It says, "Do not mistreat an alien or oppress him, for you were aliens in Egypt. Do not take advantage of a widow or an orphan. If you do, and they cry out to me, I will certainly hear their cry."
So to answer that question, God's heart goes towards those who are marginalized. Way above and before people of privilege. Matter of fact, it's pretty clear throughout the statements of Scripture that God asks us, people of privilege, to work for and help those who are marginalized.
Yeah.
Like,
The
and
outcast,
somehow, I don't know how that message...
foreigner,
Yeah, the alien, the undocumented immigrant, I mean, whatever marginalized group you want to put in there, God is making it clear that we should be, of people of privilege, should be working towards the benefit of those who struggle. And, the parable of the talents is proof of that, right? Where much is given, much is expected, right? Use what you've been given. That's the parable of the talents, as opposed to, burying it, hiding it, and hoarding it, which is what privilege sometimes does.
Yep.
And so working towards the benefit of others, if you have any sort of power or privilege, so that those who are marginalized, those who are struggling, know that they are cared for. Because when God moves, the outcast finds a family, and when God moves, the orphan finds a home. and therefore we are invited into that mission. Right?
Yeah. Nobody's left alone, which reminds me
in
of
VBS,
our second Bible point. When we feel alone, trust Jesus.
So I hope you said that at home. We need you to be a part of that too.
Yes.
So
that's Claudia the crab. There.
Claudia. Is that spelled Clawida? Like Claudia?
Yes, it is.
What was the name of the bird?
Very good. The bird is it started with E.
He said Ernest.
Ernest the eagle.
Ernest the eagle. There we go. Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
Man. Okay.
Man.
One last.
Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can.
Points here.
Yes. Let's see if we can get the last Bible point here.
Also in the song, when God moves, darkness runs for cover, and when God moves, no one's turned away. You know what jumped into my head immediately?
What's that?
Isaiah 60.
Isaiah 60.
Literally, that immediately jumped into my head.
Okay.
And for full clarity, sometimes when I'm looking for Bible points to share, I do a word search to find a common word that we're trying to tie in a theme. Mm-hmm. And then there are other times when I'm like, oh, here, this is what I want, right?
Okay.
And so today was one where I was like, oh, I know kind of where these fall. Like I didn't have to go word searching for these. And so Isaiah 60, the very end of Isaiah, and it's a word of promise and a word of prophecy, and you'll probably recognize it. And so Isaiah writes, he says, see, darkness covers the earth, and thick darkness is over the peoples. But the Lord rises upon you like the sun, and his glory appears over you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. Now let me read that lyric again. When you move, darkness runs for cover, and when you move, no one's turned away. Like, does that not?
Yeah.
So there's darkness in the world, but God's perfection, God's glory shows up and kind of burns that darkness away, and then nations will come to your light. So no one's turned away. And the nuance on that is, remember back in Israel, before the time of Jesus, you were either an Israelite and you received salvation, or you were not and you did not, right? So there was no, like, we're accepting converts in ancient Israel. Like, you're either one of us or you're not one of us. So this whole thing about nations will come to your light is a foreign concept. Mm-hmm. And so God's breaking in and saying, no. There's going to come a day when all people are welcome, even though you don't see it yet. And so there's this reminder that even in the dark times, even in the darkness of this world and the hate and the bitterness and the separation where we want to separate people and say you're in and you're out, all of that stuff, God breaks through all that and says, A, don't pay attention to that darkness, and B, my light will shine through that, and everyone will be drawn to that love, that light, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing we need to hold on to. And I'm actually wrestling with some of that for Pentecost, thinking about the work of the Spirit in that story and thinking about how God draws people together. Even in that Pentecost story reminds us that. And so I think that's one of those themes bouncing around in my head right now for this weekend to preach on. So, yeah.
A lot to cover.
Yeah, I know, right?
In the season of Pentecost there. Yes.
So give me another Bible point, Pastor Brian.
Yes, well, thinking about the darkness runs for cover, and when we're in those moments of darkness.
Yep.
So Cody the bear.
Cody
the bear with a K.
Yep.
Kodiak.
Yeah, Kodiak, right.
Yes.
The grizzly bear, right.
Yes. When we feel powerless, we can trust in Jesus.
So there are times when darkness makes us feel powerless, right?
Yes.
And was that today's Bible point or no?
Cody, no, that was not today. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yes.
Okay.
That fit the darkness running for cover a little bit better.
Gotcha.
But
right.
But yeah, just and if you wanted to,
we got to know
in case you wanted to move ahead here, Bruce the Moose says.
Bruce the Moose. I'm telling Bruce Ewing.
When we need help.
Yeah.
Trust Jesus.
When we need help. And here's the thing. The reason I asked for those is, they're for VBS, but all of those messages are equally as important for adults.
Aren't they?
Like,
absolutely.
Come on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what draws us forward.
Yes.
But anyways, we got a big weekend coming up. We hope that you can be a part of that either online or in person. because we have Pentecost and we have a great lunch coming up for, if you signed up for that, our LGBTQ and Friends lunch is coming up on Sunday. We're going to celebrate VBS at 11 o'clock. We're going to do some kids confirming their faith, making a declaration of faith on Sunday at 11. Plus, all weekend long, this remembering and celebrating the giving of the Spirit, not just then, but even to us today. So we got a lot to celebrate and jump into.
It is a busy weekend.
And so we hope you can be a part of it, either online or in person. But with that, we're going to close for the day, and we'll see you this weekend. But God bless you. We love you. And Philip, will you play us out?